Welcome back to Cozy Talks. This week's card we got Aspinall versus Gone and Vernon Jezredoba versus Mackenzie Dern 2. Card is
Oh yeah.
taking place 7 a.m. Pacific time. It's going to be an international card. But before we get into that, we're going to go over the recap for UFC Vancouver, give our
Yep.
picks
Yep.
on it, kind of give a rating on the card, and then we'll go from there.
Yep. And also, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe if you haven't done that also. And let us know how your day went, how your weekend went, how your week's been going.
If you made any
We
money.
appreciate you guys. Yeah, if you made any money on any sports bets. Uh anyways, let's get into it.
Yeah, so first fight of the night, open up the prelims, we had Melissa Croden making her debut against Tainara Lisboa. Melissa Croden looked great. I mean, that was my pick, and she was a dog when we took her. The lines flipped as the week went on. She closed as a favorite, and she looked like a
Yep.
favorite throughout. I mean, she was dominant, and
She's
she's
huge.
huge. She's a big girl.
She's huge.
You were saying she might have been training with Kayla Harrison,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can
Oh,
kind of see that. I mean, a little bit of that if that's true.
you know what?
What's up?
I was mixing up my fighters, bro. I was thinking about that one Perth fighter. Completely mixing up
Oh,
my
so
fighters.
it wasn't her. Okay, well, yeah,
Yeah,
I
completely mixed
had
it
no
up.
idea, but she looked great.
Yeah,
Um,
she really did.
yeah, next fight we had Osmat Bakoev versus Yusri Belgori. Osmat Bakoev, he was a heavy favorite coming into this card. Yusri Belgori, uh, everyone kind of knew him as the guy who was a Glory kickboxer, fought Izzy, fought Alex Pereira. Now he trains with Alex Pereira at the Glory Teixeira gym. Uh, I mean, the Lions had it way wrong. I mean, Yusri just looked like the better fighter through and through. He's a big dude. I don't know how this guy makes this weight class. But
Yeah,
he's gonna be a problem in this weight class for sure.
he's huge, he's fast, and he has great striking. He was
Yeah,
able to keep his distance from Hazmat, which I was really surprised that Hazmat was just looking for grappling and wrestling. He didn't want to try to get inside the pocket and try to, strike with him.
yeah. And
So,
even for
the ground-
Yusri being 6'5" or 6'6", whatever he was listed at, his takedown defense was incredible. You know,
100%. That's another thing as
he
well.
kind of gives me that Alexander Volkov vibe. He's one of those big guys that looks great on the ground somehow. Yeah. Next fight, Stephanie Luciano versus Ravenna Oliveira. Ravenna Oliveira was making her debut at strawweight. She was originally a bantamweight, so she cut 20 pounds, and she looked shredded. She looked great. Stephanie Luciano though just looked better. I mean, she had this fight controlled, and then just got that late sub. Looked great. Um, I don't remember them doing a fight interview for them. I think they did a fight interview for the other two, but I don't think they did anything for this fight. I could be wrong though. I wasn't paying
Yeah.
attention too much to this fight. But it was great to see three finishes back to back to back. So that was a great sign for where this card was headed at this time.
Yeah, I was really surprised that there was a finish in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like both, on both sides. I thought it could have gone both ways.
Yeah,
Uh, judges scorecards or inside the distance, but yeah, Luciano looked great.
yeah. Next fight we have the Danny Barlow making his debut at middleweight, and then we have Jordan Santos. Um, I mean, we talked about it already. Danny Barlow's already been fraud checked. He got checked against Sam Patterson. I mean, getting knocked out by a dude who has a really strong submission game. You come into this, and you know, you and I both were already kind of on the side of Santos, and we are like, it just depends on how the skills are going to look. We watched the weigh in person, and Barlow kind of just looked the same as when he was a weight class down. I mean, maybe just a little thicker, just because he had to put more muscle on or whatever. But Santos just looked like the better fighter overall in this one, dude.
This fight was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a good
Like
fight.
at one point, it looked like Santos was gonna go out, and then all of a sudden Santos just brings it back. It looked like Barlow was gonna go out for a second. Santos was kind of putting it on him, and then the round ends, and then after that, Santos just kind of kept doing his thing and kind of had it in the bag. It kind of looked like Barlow was getting a little tired
Mm,
towards the end there. And
yeah,
yeah, I mean, my pick there was Santos as well.
yeah. Next fight, we had the flyweight. We had Bruno Silva. He was pretty heavy underdog in this fight versus Hyun-Sung Park. Hyun-Sung Park took a short notice fight against Tatsuro Taira coming into this one. And that was his first loss in the UFC and his first loss in his career. I wouldn't say he was fraudulent. I mean, Tatsuro Taira is a great fighter, but him losing to Bruno Silva here kind of, definitely has him on that level of fraud check for me now a little bit. I mean, Bruno Silva has given a lot of these guys that are higher than the rankings some trouble, like Joshua Van. You know, we talked about it. He's like great for the 2 rounds, great for the 1 round, whatever. But then he gets finished in that third. And we took the Hyun-Sung Park round 3 prop just because we're like, hey, 2 fights in a row, a round 3, something's going wrong in his late game, whether it's his gas tank or something. But he figured it out. He turned it around. He himself got the round 3 finish. Uh yeah, he just had answers for everything. I mean, he looked great on the feet, he looked great on the ground. And I thought that's where Hyun-Sung Park was going to control this was on the ground.
Yeah.
Because he is a pretty decent Korean wrestler. But Bruno Silva is kind of known for his jiu-jitsu as well. Uh and yeah, I mean he got the finish, and it's kind of the same kind of finish we saw Fluffy get on Roman Dolidze, like that bulldog choke where it's like no hooks in, he's standing and just rips your neck. Um, yeah, I mean Bruno Silva's 35 years old and he just turned away a prospect. I mean, yeah, I kind of just shut the door on that. Hyun-Sung Park's gonna have to kind of hit a bounce back if he wants to get in the rankings because Bruno Silva's playing the doorkeeper.
Uh, First things first, that guy at Park Casino, if you're watching, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
There was
Yeah,
this dude we met at the casino, and he asked me for a guaranteed lock on this fight. I said, this Young Sung Park guy is pretty good.
yeah.
And
He's
then he was like, if this parlay loses, I'm gonna come and find you. So if you're watching, I am sorry.
yeah. You got to come to this side of the board if you want to find us.
But like you were talking about, to be fair, Bruno Silva, I just he locked in for that fight.
Great. It was a great
He
fight
he,
for him for
he
sure.
yeah, he shut down Park.
Yeah. Next fight we had Cody Gibson versus Arichi Lang. Dude, we were saying that name so wrong. I was saying like
Man,
Eric Lang and shit, and I'm like, wow, I feel like a dumbass. It's Arichi Lang, and
I
that
went
and
to
that
the
seems a lot easier to
bathroom.
say.
I went to the bathroom for this fight because I didn't think it was gonna be over so fucking quick.
Yeah. Wow. Arichi Lang. He's always been like that big fighter that looks like he can punch hard, but he kind of just like doesn't. And this fight was, he looked the part. Cody Gibson, he's kind of been that savvy vet that we've seen kind of be in some wars, and goes to the scorecards quite a bit. Arichi Lang, kind of same instance, but dude, he sparked Gibson, dude. It was so quick in
Hmm.
the first round. It kind of seemed like a flash knockout. Kind of seemed like he was coming back a bit. But it was the right stoppage because I mean you could see when Cody Gibson got to his feet, that dude was wobbling around and shit. You knew he was just out. But yeah, it was a great fight for Richie Lang. I don't remember how old he is, but I think it's a good time for him to start getting on the horse and getting into a bit of a better fights. Because Cody Gibson kind of he's definitely a journeyman. He was like 38, so I think if he fights someone a little younger, more his age, more his you know near him in the rankings, it'll be a great bounce spot.
Sure.
Featured prelim, Kyle Prepelic versus Drew Dober. This was a great fucking fight. But this was also when we started to see problems with the refing. Um, I don't remember who the ref was. It was a Mergliata. It was Dan Mergliata, wasn't it?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Because in this fight, there was a few nut shots, and yeah, Drew.
No, it wasn't because Dan Mergliano was the ref for the next fight.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, yeah. So Drew Dober got hit. He kicked Prepelic in the nuts, and it was significant enough to where they deducted a point in the third, and then Drew Dober he locked in. Take that point away all you want. He said, I'm sparking Prepelec," and he did, bro. He blacked out and he fucking just went down on Prepelec. It was a great performance. The whole fight was a war. It was back and forth the whole time. Prepelec did not look like the minus, or the plus 400 underdog. That fight felt like a pick 'em the whole way through.
100%. That was a really close fight going into that third round.
Yeah. You know, great bounce back for Drew Dober. I mean, like I said, he's been in wars with some of the top dudes in the lightweight division. Um, and I just felt like he had to be the guy to get the win here. It was kind of doing a disservice to him if he lost this one to Prepelec.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he got the win, so I'm happy for him. Open up the main card. We had Kyle Nelson versus Matt Favola. Building off of what I said earlier, this is another fight that had a bit of a big time reffing mistake. It's been viral. You guys probably already seen it. Rounds coming in the first. Matt Favola is fucking dazed and, you know, bouncing his head off the mat on the ground. Kyle Nelson's beating his head into the mat. And Dan Miguelada is the ref in this one. And he stops the fight. You can see the clock in the background at 3 seconds. Stops the fight at round 1, 3 seconds left, KO. But he doesn't wave off the fight. He says it was a mistake. He says that he thought he heard the bell. We have seen this be a problem more recently and more frequently. And it's something that I feel like needs to be brought up because it's like we need to start holding the referees more accountable for these kinds of things. Because one for like sportsbook reasons, of course, but also for just officiating. You know, if you're gonna step in, don't like step back after you already stepped in. Like just commit to it. You know, admit you made a mistake, but don't, you know, you stepped in for a reason. And yeah, it was definitely a problem in this one for sure. Because then, you know, after that, it was kind of what we saw in the Perth card. Jake Matthews had that adrenaline dump. You know, it wasn't too much of a problem in this fight though. Kyle Nelson totally, you know, he was very self aware and he kind of just do what he had to get the win. But yeah, went to a decision after what could have been around 1 KO. So pretty annoying because we had Kyle Nelson KO prop in this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty frustrating on that. Next fight, we had Charles Jourdain versus Davy Grant. This was a fun fight to watch. Charles Jourdain looked incredible, and I didn't really know that he was fighting at lightweight. Well, I mean, I just didn't click for my head because I knew he fought Gene Silva, and Gene Silva's obviously you know, a featherweight or not lightweight, featherweight, and it didn't click in my head that he moved down a weight class to bantamweight in his last fight, and this was his second fight at bantamweight, and he looked incredible. He smoked Davy Grant with that flying knee, flattened his fucking head, and then got the gilly on the ground. That was an incredible fight. Charles Jourdain looks insane for this weight class. I think he's gonna be a real problem for you know, the top 15. Because I think that's where he's headed next for sure. Davy Grant's kind of been the guy that, you know, has hung around with a lot of these prospects. He's turned away quite a few guys, or he's fought really close with some of them. And for Charles Jourdain to come in and just round 1 beat his ass and get in and out pretty quick in front of his hometown. I mean, yeah, I think you get him. I think you get him on that fast track to the top 15.
%. Yeah, that was really good performance from Charles Jourdain. We actually did see his brother in the
Uh,
crowd during the
the ceremonial
ceremonial.
weigh-in. Mhm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We didn't snag a picture with him, but a lot of people were getting pictures with him. That was pretty cool to see him there.
Yeah. Next fight, we had the women's flyweight. This was kind of a number 1 contender, or you know what would have been if Jasmine won. This was just a contender or eliminator. Mano Fioro versus Jasmine Jasavicius. Um, this fight was a weird one. Jasmine just looked uncomfortable on the feet. You know, she got countered hard when yeah, she came in and then Mano fired to the left and landed on the left side of Jasmine's head and just wobbled her on the ground on the feet. And then you know, finished her off on the ground with some ground strikes. And Jasmine, you know, she got up, she kind of same thing like, oh, I wasn't out. Oh, but
Oh, she's out.
she wobbled all over the place. I'm like, nah, she's out, dude.
Yeah,
That
she's out
that
bad.
was tough because this was kind of a parlay killer because I was super confident in Jasmine and Mano just totally proved everybody wrong that, you know, she is really that good. You know, she lost to Valentina and Valentina is really that good. Because, you
Mhm.
know, that's the only person Mano has lost to in the UFC, I'm pretty sure. Uh and yeah, I mean, now I think like for like Mano, I think she needs to fight. You know what was a fun fight I heard?
Huh.
Natalia Silva or Natalie
Ooh.
Silva, who just beat Alexa Grasso. That'd be a really fun fight.
That would be a
Um,
pretty good fight.
yeah, because I mean they already have the super fight going on later down the road anyway with Zhang Wei Li and Valentina, so they need to kind of get the top of the rankings kind of more set up with like fresh stuff in case Zhang Wei Li does win. Um, and plus it's just a good fight. I mean, Mano just lost to Valentina, so I think she needs one more fight to kind of be in that contendership spot again.
Time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. I got a fucking leg cramp.
Okay, we're back. All right. Next fight we had Marlon Chito Vera versus Eamon Zahabi. Chito Vera was Chito Vera, bro. I mean, there's no getting away from it. The dude took a little bit of a layoff, comes back and he fights the exact same kind of fight where he thinks he's robbed on the scorecards, and it felt pretty clear Zahabi got 2 of those rounds. Round 1 was really close. I thought it could have been round 1 and 3 Cheeto, but it was really close. It's kind of just however you scored it, whether you can score it off control time or striking output or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about this fight. It was very, very unimpressive. I think Amos Zahabi's whenever he does fight someone really good, he's gonna get his fucking ass kicked. He called out Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley responded with the video. This fucking guy. So, hey, if Amos Zahabi fights Sean O'Malley, I'm throwing the house on Sean O'Malley. I don't like Amos Zahabi. I think
100%.
he's a fucking really boring fighter. You're not getting any further in this division, bro. Like Chito Vera has always been a very low IQ fighter. His striking output has always, it kind of is what it is. He throws his Hail Mary shot in the third or throws, first round he's usually taken off, and then he usually tries to come back with some crazy knockout at the end. But he's just not there, dude. 32 years old and he fights like he's, ready to retire. But yeah, Eamon Zahabi, I'm not impressed, bro. I'm never gonna be impressed. He's got the hometown buff. We talked about it in our Tuesday video. He's now 4-0 or 5-0, whatever it was, fighting in Canada. I mean, yeah, crazy to think about. Next fight, Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott in the co-main. Yeah, Kevin Holland. I mean, this was another fight that we had a bit of officiating problems with because Mike Malott kicked the shit out of Kevin Holland's nuts, dropped him. I thought he was gonna not stand up again like we saw in that Suzuki Dumas fight. He was just floored.
He did it twice, didn't he?
Yeah,
Malott did. The first time Holland was just like, it's fine.
yeah,
And then the second time, that's when he dropped.
yeah, and it was a Dan in this fight too. I think it was Dan in this fight. I don't remember.
I'm not sure who it was, but I do agree with you. You know, we saw Drew Dober land a completely unintentional low blow, accidental,
Gets a point deducted.
unintentional, and they deduct a point.
Here,
And yeah,
Here, they did not deduct a point. And from what I was hearing in the commentary, they were saying that they said something like about like he's like I should take a point away, but I'm not. It's like why even say that? Like you already kind of like set the precedent that you're taking away points for low blows, and there was a low blow a few fights ago that you just did that, but you're not going to do it here in the co-main.
yeah.
For what reason? And yeah, I mean that totally changed the kind of trajectory this fight was on. Whether or not Kevin Holland was going to win, who knows? Because he was clearly not fighting in the way he normally fights. He's definitely not one to come out and blitz with strikes. He ended the first round stuck on the cage because he fucking literally could not move. He was kind of playing possum, but he really wasn't. He really was just that uncomfortable. And yeah, I mean, Mike Malott, I'm not super impressed with, but Kevin Holland's kind of a weird guy to figure out, weird guy to fight. Mike Malott could present some problems. I think after this fight, you kind of give him, you got to give him another test, bro. I don't think he's ready for some of these other top guys.
Give him another vet.
I
mean, give him.
I almost said Wonder Boy, but I thought that'd be kind of a weird fight because Wonder Boy would be lower than Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he could give him like Gabriel Bonfim, but Bonfim's fighting already, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
he is.
um, there's not a fight on top of my head that really sticks out because I think he needs to fight a guy that's off of a loss versus a guy that's already surging up and through. Uh, so I don't know. It's a fight. It's a fight. It's one to sit on. You know, whenever he does fight, who knows? It might be something interesting. He could fight. He could fight MVP. I don't know. MVP moved up. He wasn't planning on staying at middleweight. He was going to come back down to welterweight and you know continue here. He could fight uh Neil Magny. I guess Neil Magny's not in the rankings.
He already fought Magny.
Oh, that's right. Magny already fucking killed him. I don't know. There's first fights to make. Uh, Main event though: Rainer Dritter versus Brendan Allen. This one we were completely wrong on. The Rainer Dritter that showed up is not the Rainer Dritter we've seen in the past, and you know you could argue that it's because of how many times this dude's had to cut weight this year. This was his fifth fight in 2025, and he's very active. He has to cut 20-30 pounds every time he fights. You know, he's probably came into this with an injury or whatever his coach said, whatever what we hear that excuse a lot, but it is, you know, something that you really got to think about when a dude is fighting that frequent in the year and he's cutting that much weight. You know, it definitely has some problems for sure. But Brendan Allen looks great. You know, him transitioning to the Chicago gym with Bilal Muhammad and everyone obviously worked out great. His striking looked clean. He out grappled Rainer de Ritter. He fucking he looked excellent. He looked ready for, you know, a title shot. But you know, obviously he's not there yet because he had a loss a little bit ago to Fluffy. But you know, the fight to make for him is DDP 100%. Rainer de Ritter, I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know what you do with him.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to make those excuses. I don't want to listen to those excuses either. You know, like RDR might have been coming in with an injury, or
Yeah,
he was fighting too much. But that the second one though is like one that I do lean on though. Is I believe he was fighting too much. I mean, was his fifth fight
yeah,
in a year. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I'm saying like don't do that, but there's only a few dudes who can do that.
yeah,
You know, especially when like you're fighting dudes who are in the top of your division, not the top of your division, you know, in Brendan Allen, but you know, dudes who are ranked in your division. You know, it's gonna be way more competitive. Like you just fought Whitaker.
yeah. And he looked great in that
You
fight.
know,
That's what I'm saying. Like the guy we saw in
yeah,
this fight was not the guy we saw in the fights before.
no, you know, and so you know who knows. I heard he had COVID
Yeah.
during the fight. You
Hmm.
know, I've heard a lot of things, but you know, how many fighters have you heard those type of excuses from? You know, not only from the fighter, but from their camp. You know, just from rumors on social media. Oh, Ankalaev was fighting with a broken rib. Just so happened to be in the exact same spot that Alex Pereira was landing those elbows. You know, shit like that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. All we can say is, you know, we saw with Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira had problems when he fought Ankh the first time, and he came back and proved it in the second fight. So, you know,
Exactly.
maybe down the
So
road,
you
if we
know
see
who
these guys go again, Rainer just beats his fucking ass and proves us all
yeah,
wrong.
who knows what happens when RDR comes back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So that's it for the recap. Now let's get ready for the pay per view. So let's get this transitioned over. Now we'll hop back into it. Now we're gonna go over the UFC 321 card and give you guys a breakdown for these fights. Um, yeah, first fight we got Jacqueline Amarim versus Mizuki Inoue. I'll just press on it. Yeah, what do you got for this? C? I mean, my pick is Jacqueline Amarim. I feel like it's pretty
yeah,
pretty pretty clear pick here.
I got Jacqueline Amarim, and I'm pretty sure I could speak for both of us. The reason being is first things first, Mizuki Inu is coming off of a 2-year layoff, and she only has about what like how many fights in the UFC? She only has 3 fights in the UFC within the last 6 years.
Yeah, she. I mean, she is just 7 years was against Verna, and that was on the regional scene. She fought Vivian Pereira, whatever. Fought these girls just don't. She fought Amanda Lemos. That's like the only fight that like I can like look at and be like,
5
that makes
years
sense.
ago.
And Verna, but like none of these girls even exist in the UFC anymore, bro.
Yeah, yeah, and her last fight, before this long layoff was against some girl named Hannah Goldie, and I mean, like, I don't even know who that is. But she's fighting Jacqueline Amarim, and she's only lost once, and that was against a dog of a vet in Sam Hughes.
our
Um,
hometown favorite girl.
Chef Hughes. Other than that, she's put out every single one of her opponents
Yeah,
in her MMA career. Before she came to the UFC, she had 5 fights and she won all by first round finish. I mean, yeah, she got checked by Sam Hughes, but I wouldn't really say checked.
mm,
She took Sam Hughes, or Sam Hughes took her to decision,
mm,
and was able to get the win. But I mean, right after that, uh, she won her next 4 by finish.
yeah,
So uh, I think it's kind of clear cut here when you got a girl who is set on getting the win and getting the win by any means possible, and she's fighting a girl who has
doesn't fight
only
very much.
doesn't fight at all.
Yeah,
I mean, and the highest level of opponent she's faced are girls who are way past that time
hmm,
that Inu has fought them.
yeah.
So
I see a late sub. I mean,
yeah, I see a late sub as well. But who knows? Maybe Inu did some crazy submission,
she
but
does have a bit of a wrestling background, but
she
I
does.
mean, Amarim.
But
Yeah, she caught Demopoulos in an armbar. Demopoulos is kind of known for her jiu-jitsu too, and you can
mhm,
argue there was a glove grab. That was the fight where Demopoulos was like, talking to the ref saying she's grabbed my glove, she grabbed my glove, and then she rips the armbar. Uh, I don't know. I mean, she got the win. That's all that matters. But yeah, no, I think this fight has submission written all over it. It's either submission or decision. And I think Jack Lammerman can go either way with those.
or knockout,
Or not.
TKO.
I guess a knockout's possible. I don't know if she has very many knockouts on her record.
She
She has
has a
two.
couple.
Yeah, but she has
Couple
eight.
ground and pounds.
Yeah, I think she's I think she's
Maybe
live for it.
Eno's just being stingy. She's fighting him and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
But Amber is just like fuck this and just starts hammering on her.
yeah.
Who knows? But my pick is most definitely Amarim, and I think she could get it done inside the distance.
All right, moving on. We got Azat Maxim versus Mitch Raposo. My pick in this one is Azat Maxim. He's kind of is what Mitch Raposo is, just a little bit better. He's a
Yeah,
wrestler. He's got a little bit of striking, but it's just a lot of high level wrestling. And yeah, I think Azat is just a little more set up in his career, to where he's kind of just the more polished version of Mitch Raposo. Um,
yeah.
he's
I
fought a bit of
mean,
the better competition. Charles Johnson and Tagir Ulanbekov. Charles Johnson, I think he's now ranked. I could be wrong, but Tagir obviously is ranked. He trains in the Khabib camp. Mitch
mhm.
Raposo, his last two losses were Andre Lima, who lost to, was this the guy that, no, I don't remember who the hell that was. But then he fought Sumaderji. Sumaderji's pretty solid. I think we saw Sumaderji fight on the China card, right? I think he fought on that card.
I think so.
But yeah, either way, I mean, he just has been, he has more fights on his record, and he's fought a little bit more of the higher level of competition. Um, yeah, and like I said, he's just the more polished version of what Mr. Poso is, and what could be at this time. I think it's just a bad timing fight for Raposo. He's kind of getting served some of the tougher fights, especially
Mhm.
when he's coming in on a debut against an undefeated Andre Lima. Uh, and then he gets Sumaderji, who has like that kickboxing kind of style. Uh, it's a tough track. I mean, but you got to get wins if you want to stay in the UFC. But I just don't see him getting a win here. If I see a guy getting a bounce back win, it's gonna be Azat Maxim when both these guys are on two loss streak right now.
We'll be completely honest. I believe, and I honestly believe in this. If Raposo loses here, I think Dana White's gonna let him go,
Hmm.
and he's not gonna let him go as in like Raposo's not gonna come back. Raposo's 27. He's still pretty young. Um, he he tried getting on the Contender Series back in 2021, but he got finished by Jake Hadley, and then went back to the regional scene, had a couple of fights after that, had 4 fights after that, and then
Hmm.
he's on track to be 0-3 here.
Yeah.
Cause like you were saying, Maxim, I went and rewatched that fight against Tagir. Maxim is a pretty phenomenal fighter.
Hmm.
I mean, to be able to hold your balance that well against a dude like Tagir who trains with Khabib, Islam, and all those Dagestani guys, um, and to have really clean striking on top of that as well. I totally agree with you. I think Maxim is exactly what Raposo wants to be, and I think this is a bad matchup for Raposo. Um, I do see a possible finish on the side of Maxim,
Yeah.
possible late finish. But who knows? Raposo is little. He's a dog. He has a chin on him as well.
Yeah.
He's real durable. But Maxim, he's quick. He has that wrestling, that grappling. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah, it'd definitely be a tough finish for sure. I mean, the only time Raposa's lost inside the distance was by sub. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think Isaac Maxim gets us on the cards. 29-28, maybe a 30-27. I think he's just like I said. I think he's just a more polished version for sure of what Raposo is. But who knows? I mean, there's always a dog chance. I mean, Raposo could come out and just totally prove us wrong. I hold that very little. You know, yeah. Next fight on the prelims, we got Chris Barnett versus Hamdi Abdul Wahab. Man, uh, you know, in another world, Chris Barnett would be heavyweight king, and he would be my pick here. But I can't pick him after we just saw him come in the ring and blow his Achilles up when he fought Kennedy and Zeshikwu a year ago, and I was supposed to expect him to come back and be recovered off of an Achilles injury against an Olympic level wrestler in Hamdi, and somehow win this fight in a 3-round fight. I don't think so. I think Hamdi is just going to spark him. I think Chris Barnett might re-injure himself in this fight, or at least I don't see him making it to 3 rounds. Hamdi, he's a very pressure based fighter, um, especially when you're fighting in Saudi Arabia. If Chris Barnett doesn't get the finish, home cooking, bro. We've seen it a lot on Saudi cards, more in the PFL, but it has happened in UFC cards too. But yeah, it happened last time. Hamdi fought against, I think it was against Jamal Pogues. I thought Pogues won that fight, and somehow Hamdi got the win there on a split, which was crazy. But yeah, no, I think Hamdi gets this done inside the distance. Yeah, I just don't see Barnett getting this done. He's a fun fighter. He has the crazy wheel kicks, and he's very flashy for a big boy at 5'9" in the heavyweight division. But yeah, it's just a bad matchup again here.
Yeah, I saw some dude talking about that torn Achilles injury, and that's what Jamal Hill had,
Hmm.
and that he was out for a little bit because of that. And I mean, go and look at Jamal Hill's recent record.
Yeah,
He's been losing. Chris Barnett, he just did the same exact thing, just lost by knockout. Um, as much as I wanted to say Barnett here, I mean, unfortunately, I gotta go with the other guy, Hamdi. Um, I really hope we don't get a decision here.
that'd be
I
crazy
mean,
if we did.
we've been seeing a lot of heavyweight fights going the distance and
Hmm.
going to the judges' scorecards, so it would be really unfortunate to see that. Barnett can be really creative in his striking, as well as his timing when he throws. Um, like you were talking about, Barnett really fucked himself over when he was was a little overexcited about that fight
Jumped in
and
the
just
ring
jumped
and
and fucking landed on his ankle wrong and then ended up fucking being the downfall in that fight for him.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, he was also fighting a dude who's just fucking a killer,
yeah,
a killer with his striking on the feet. But Hamdi is coming off that decision loss against Muhammad Usman, who just got popped for PEDs. And I mean, go look at fucking Muhammad Usman, bro.
big,
Tell me
big
not,
tank, dude.
tell me he's not taking something. Uh, Hamdi has finishes though. He has some finishes under his belt. I did
Yeah,
not know that he was a Olympic wrestler.
yeah,
He's fucking thick.
big
I
boy.
will say that he's a pretty thick guy. Just all his entire frame.
Mm,
Um, but he hasn't gotten a finish. He hasn't gotten a finish in the UFC here, in his UFC career. And I think Barnett will have a hard time with Hamdi, um, unless he gets some crazy shot landed on Hamdi. You know,
yeah,
one thing I do see possibly happening here is Barnett knows he's the smaller guy. He knows he's a smaller guy in every single one of his fights. That's why he throws those super high, crazy spin kicks.
yeah,
Uh, One thing I see is Hamdi just kind of rushing in and thinking he's close to getting Barnett out, and I see Barnett just swinging, and maybe just closing out the show. Drops Hamdi onto his knees, and then
yeah,
Barnett just gets on him, puts
yeah,
all his weight on him, and just keeps on swinging. You know, but
yeah,
either way, um, I don't think I'll be touching this fight.
yeah.
Uh,
Rooting
if I
interest is
were to
definitely Barnett, but the betting interest is probably on Hamdi because,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If I were to bet on this fight, I would go with the side of Hamdi. If I wanted to be a degenerate, give me fucking Barnett by knockout.
yeah. Uh, all right, next fight. This is gonna be probably fight of the night. I mean, this fight has everything going for it. We got Jose Delgado versus Nate Wood. Um, I'm a big fan of Nate Wood. I liked what he did in his last fight against Morgan Charrier. Morgan Charrier is, he's a dog. He's a very tough out. Um, Jose Delgado though, 10-1. This guy is a finish machine. When he finished Hyder at Mill a little over 3 months ago, that was a shocking knockout because we had Hyder at Mill all day. I mean, it was
Yeah,
two.
I mean he's Filipino brother,
Yeah, it was two.
Pinoy.
Yeah, it was a guy who was undefeated at the time coming against Delgado, and Delgado just man, bro, he just sparked him. It was an insane fight. Nate Wood though, he's a tough out. You're not gonna, he's a hard guy to finish. He goes to the scorecards pretty often, um, but he's a very savvy fighter. Um, he has good range control. He can wrestle. Um, yeah, I mean my side in this, I like Delgado. I mean he has all the finishing ability. But this is definitely, this is the prove it fight for Jose Delgado. Not so much for Nate Wood. I think if Nate Wood wins, he kind of just retains his spot and he, keeps chugging along in the ranking ladder. But Delgado wins here. I think he wins by a finish, as crazy as it is. If he does win, because I mean, let's look. I mean, in his last five, he has five finishes right there. He has six in his career, four by sub. Let's see. One, two, three, four, five, six. He's on a 7-fight finish streak right now. So it's pretty crazy to think that this guy might not even you know, he might not ever see the scorecard again. But yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of the guy, but I think this is a tough ask for him to come in and get a Nate Wood who has beaten some of these more tougher outs. Like Morgan Schreier is not an easy fight to take, even though he does have quite a few losses. He's dangerous, and Nate Wood definitely just took control of that fight.
For sure. I got Jose Delgado winning this fight. Um, I agree with you. I think this will be the biggest test for Jose Delgado because I mean, you got Nathaniel Wood, in my opinion, is a solid journeyman in the UFC. He's been fighting in the UFC since 2018,
Mm,
and I mean, some of his most notable wins, in my opinion, is he won against John Castaneda, Charles Jourdain, and Andre Philly, and Morgan Charrier, um, all coming by decision. He's a he's a really smart fighter in there.
yeah,
Um, he has a pretty good fighting IQ. So, like I was saying, I think this is going to be a really big test for Delgado
yeah,
in this fight. But I got the young prospect winning in this one. Um, I mean, Wood has been finished twice in the third round
mhm.
by knockout. Um, I mean, I see, I agree with you. I see this fight, being a banger, and I see Delgado just breaking Nathaniel Wood though. Um, I
Yeah.
think, yeah. I mean,
He is gonna be the bigger featherweight here. I mean, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach for a featherweight is pretty big.
yeah,
It's definitely on the bigger side for sure in this weight division.
yeah. I like the side of Delgado winning here, and I think Delgado could possibly win inside the distance as well.
Yeah. All right, next fight. Let's go. We got the heavyweights again. We got a lot of heavyweights on this card, which is what I enjoy. I love seeing some big boys go at it. We got Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. Walter Walker was supposed to fight at the Vancouver card. No, it was the card before that. But
Yeah, Brazil.
but his opponent pulled out. Was sick with whatever. It was I don't
Oh
remember what
no,
it
it
was.
was, it was I thought it was Muhammad Usman.
Was that who we were just talking about? Yeah. I think it
Yeah,
was
and
that. I think it was that one.
he got popped for PEDs.
Yeah, and we had Louis Sutherland, who was supposed to fight on the Perth card, but a Toffer brother called out
Yep.
and got cut from the UFC for that. So now we get two guys who were supposed to fight other guys, and now they're fighting each other. And I look at this fight, and I see one of two possible things happening here: Walter Walker heel hook, or Louis Sutherland KO. And I still even think Walter Walker could knock out Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland is a freak of a man. Uh, but what turned me away from Louis Sutherland on my pick here was the media day photo I saw of him on that Perth card. You look at this photo here; it does not do it. This is like fake. It has to be fake from what you see,
No, that's just him flexing. That's
dude.
just him flexing for the camera.
Dude, because when we saw him on that media day, he looked like just like an average heavyweight, just a chubby, lame, boring heavyweight. Like he had that look about him. Walter Rocco, he is a big dude. I mean, he used to be a bodyguard outside of the UFC, and he's just a freak of a man. He is a dangerous heavyweight, soon to be. I think he gets a finish here. I mean, whether it's heel hook or ground and pound knockout, I don't see him losing this, and I'm a fan of the guy too. Um, don't know Lou Sutherland too well. I know this is his debut fight. I figure it's a tough ass to come in and fight, a top 10 heavyweight off rip. Yeah, I mean he's gonna be great in this division. I just think it's another too early ask for a guy.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, this is his first fight
Yeah,
coming into the UFC, facing Walter Walker. He's on a three fight winning streak, all by heel hook.
and he's 14-1,
Um,
and his only loss is to Lucas Dresky, which is a crazy loss when you look at his
and
record.
he's ranked 10. So I mean, like, what happens here if Louis Sutherland wins? Does Louis Sutherland become ranked 15? Becomes top 15? You know, I don't know.
He probably
That's
does. I mean that heavyweight roster sucks.
it's kind of crazy to me. But my biggest concern is Sutherland stuffing some of the takedowns from Walter and putting his weight onto him and just finding some ground and pound shots.
Yeah.
I will say my pick here though is Walter Walker, and there's a big reason behind it, and I'll bring that up. And I was taking Louis over Taffa when they were posted a fight. Walter on the other hand, like we were just saying, he's been catching dudes in this crazy heel hook, these big guys
Yeah.
in these crazy
And,
heel
and, and
hooks.
he has clever ways of entering into those submissions too.
And I really think Walter Walker is just going to go out there and completely starch Louis Sutherland. And my reasoning is because the other day I was sitting on the John on my phone on Twitter, and I saw a tweet from the Vanilla Gorilla himself, Louis Sutherland, and he posted a bunch of pictures. He posted Chunk from the Goonies.
Oh hell no!
He
Was
posted
he talking
AI
shit about Walter Walker?
posted AI pictures of Walter Walker, making fun of Walter Walker. I think
Good luck, brother.
I think Walker and his brother Johnny Walker are not going to take a liking to that. So, I mean, and like I just said, his brother's Johnny Walker, and we just saw Johnny Walker go out and put out a dude who we thought was going to be that division's Jason Voorhees. And I mean, I feel like Walker's gonna do the same thing here. I think he's gonna go out there, and I feel like he's gonna find the knockout win. Because I mean, dude, Sutherland is obviously gonna be expecting Walker to do some crazy shit and possibly try to, go for that heel hook submission, or look for some wrestling.
Yeah,
Walker being the bigger guy here, I think he's gonna use his height and
he's got.
a little bit of a reach advantage.
Yeah,
Um, I think Walker's just gonna put his fucking lights out. I think he's gonna drop him and just do ground and pound. I mean, you you got a dude talking shit about you. I don't think the Walker brothers are gonna take too kindly to that. And
yeah.
another thing as well is Walker. I'm pretty sure Walker was also he also lived in Russia for a little
Mm,
bit. So he is gonna have a little bit of hype fighting over here,
mm.
and he speaks very fluent. I'm pretty sure he speaks very fluent Russian. So, but he's most definitely gonna be aiming to win.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I got Walter Walker inside the distance.
Next fight we got what's it? Abdul Karim Al Salawati. Oh boy.
What a crazy name!
Versus Mateus Camilo. Uh, have I ever seen this dude fight?
Yeah,
I feel like I've never seen this dude before.
I'm gonna be completely honest. This is the first time I'm hearing of these two, and my breakdown of this fight is very short. Both of these
Yeah,
guys have kind of similar records, though Camilo is only 24. They both have knockout wins and even submission wins. But I do believe Abdul Karim does have the better grappling in this fight, and
yeah,
I see this one going the distance. But if anything, I do favor Abdul getting a sub win. If anything, I mean, Palestinian is fighting. He's fighting. Kind of at his hometown. If he were to get a hometown fight, that's probably the closest thing. So
yeah.
I got the Palestinian winning in this fight.
I mean, yeah, just looking over their records, I think I definitely would take Abdul Karim either by sub or by decision here. I mean, he partakes in grappling outside of UFC. We see that. Mateus, every time he's lost in his career, he has 3 losses. All 3 of those losses are by sub. Um, he beat George Hardwick, which is Harry Hardwick's brother. Fights over in Cage Cage Warriors, I think is what it is. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think Abdul gets this one done on the scorecards.
Yep.
Not too much to go over on this one. I mean,
No,
yeah, I've never
no,
seen either of these dudes fight.
this is the first time I find out about these guys.
Yeah, we'll move on.
This next fight though.
Yeah, this is This is Spider-Man versus Spider-Man. This is like the meme right here. You know, you got the twins going at it, dude. You got Mateusz Rebetsky versus Ludovic Klein. Uh, Man, I still haven't decided who I want to pick in this one because Mateusz Rebetsky, we've seen him in some fucking wars. When
Hmm.
he fought Mitzvik Orlby, and then last time out against Chris Duncan. Ludwig Klein, you know, he had his shot at the rankings, lost to Gamrot in his last fight out, and it was a pretty close fight. I mean, we saw where his holes were. His holes were in the wrestling. We know what Gamrot does. Gamrot will wrestle fuck you, and that's kind of what that fight was. Uh, but I like him a lot here in this one, and I like Ludwig Klein as a fighter overall. Mateusz Rebetsky, we've seen him lose 3 times. We saw him lose to Diego Ferreira, who is an old 40-year-old journeyman. We've seen him lose to that's this right here, and we've seen him lose to Chris Duncan. Those were his losses in the UFC. And Chris Duncan was, you know, I thought Chris Duncan was going to get killed in that fight, but now he's looking like an interesting puzzle in the lightweight division. You know, he's coming off of some wins over guys that you had no faith in him beating. But yeah, Ludwig Klein. I mean, he just got tested against Gamrot, who we just saw lose to Charles Oliveira. But Charles Oliveira is Charles Oliveira. Uh, yeah, I like Klein here. I think he has strong kickboxing. He has strong hands. Um, yeah, I like him to take the bounce back win here and get back into get back on the horse. He's 31, about to be 31 years old. Um, I think he has a bright future ahead of him. You're about to
I
say
got
some opposite
Mateusz
shit. Fuck you.
Rebecki. I got Rebecki winning this fight. I got Rebecki winning this fight. I believe that Rebecki is going to be looking for a statement win here over Ludovic Klein. Um, After going to straight wars in his last 2 fights. Um, I don't see Klein being able to do the same thing unless he could out grapple Rebecki, which in my opinion, I think of Rebecki is a little bit better all around. Um, Rebecki, he's a brawler. He can land some heavy strikes, and he has wins. He has wins by submission, multiple wins by submission, and to put it in terms as well, Klein's last win was by decision against a dude that Rebecki put out. So I guess in MMA math, I do see
Fair
Rebecki
enough.
putting out Klein.
That's valid. That's valid.
I don't think this fight for Klein though will be slow paced grappling like with Gamrot.
Mm,
I think Rebecki could get the win inside the distance. I think like I was
man.
saying, Rebecki he's a brawler, and who knows? Maybe Klein's ready for that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Maybe we've most definitely seen a lot of turnarounds and in a lot of recent fights where dudes go and they find the right training camps. They I don't know, but I am in favor of Rebecki winning here, and I think Rebecki can get a finish.
Whatever.
The-
One of the twins has got to win. Uh, Next fight on the card, we got Ikram Alaskarov versus Young Park. I just saw a video of Ikram Alaskarov. He was calling like he was like asked like a hypothetical of like, would you take a fight against Hamza on short notice? And it's like one of those weird like he's like I don't train with cans. Of course I would take that fight on short notice. And Hamza responded to it and was just like, you know, whenever guys call me out from my country, it's always some like intra culture, intra country kind of like weird thing. When I do it, it's for sport. Like I'm just like, I'm not taking it serious. Um, but Ikram like, was like legit about it. Like he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, if I Hamza, it's like, would you though? If you did, you'd get killed.
100%.
Um,
That
but
that is I mean that is crazy though. Ikram did fight Hamza on the regional scene.
Yeah. Yeah, in this fight though, I do favor Ikram in this fight though. I think he, he has very high level kickboxing. Uh and he has some crazy power in his hands, dude. We've seen him put out Andre Muniz, which you and I could put out Andre Muniz, dude. I mean, the guy's got a fucking glass chin.
I mean that punch was kind of like I forget I forget which fight it was. I don't know if it was like Muhammad. I think it was Muhammad Ali. It was kind of like the Phantom punch. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what that like that's what it looked like.
Hmm.
That's what it looked like watching that fight.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Phantom punch.
Yeah, but Ikram took his loss, to Robert Whitaker. Granted, it was a short notice fight, and it was Whitaker when Whitaker was still, in and out of the title fights, and
Yeah, he took that loss respectfully.
yeah. Uh, Before that, he was doing his thing, getting his finishes, and that's the thing is Ikram is one of those guys from Russia that gets a lot of finishes. He doesn't like to see the scorecard too often. As of late in his run, Jong Young Park, he's a problem, but he's kind of fighting more of the journeyman vet guys. He fought a Brad Tavares and won on a split, and he also fight Ismail Nardiev. Um, yeah, I mean he's almost 35, and he's getting a guy who is kind of primed to get into the contendership here soon in the next few years, and I think he will. I think he is going to be kind of a problem for the middleweight division because he does present a lot of problems. He is, like I say, he has great hands, great kicking, great submission game. Yeah, I think he's just gonna have a lot more things for Jung Park to try and figure out here, and I don't rate Jung Young Park too high, as a fighter in general.
Yeah. Um, I got Ikram Askeller.
I was
Gee, jeez.
the guy on the
I
left or
have
the right.
Ikram. I have Ikram Aliskerov winning this fight over Jung Young Park.
Yeah.
Um, I will say I feel like this will be a little bit of a tough fight.
Mhm.
But I also think this fight will uh this fight will favor whoever has the better gas tank out of the two.
Yeah.
Um, Park is a hard guy to put out, but Ikram has some hands and he has power that he could generate from anywhere. Um, both these guys aren't new to grappling either, um, or grappling or ground game. Um, I honestly think in this fight we'll see Ikram test it a little bit. But another thing is if we want to play MMA math here again,
Uh-oh.
Jung Young Park lost by decision against Andre Muniz, and Ikram Aliskerov
Killed
just
him.
knocked Ikram Aliskerov. And that was only 2 years ago, that loss for Jung Young Park. I mean, that was a little bit of time. Andre Muniz is pretty fucking old.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, we want to play a little bit of MMA math. That's my equation, and my answer is Ikram Aliskerov winning by a possible knockout here or a decision. I honestly think this fight might go to decision. Like I said, the Iron Turtle
Iron
is,
Chin.
is literally what he is. I mean, he's only been knocked out once in the UFC, and that was by Gregory Rodriguez. And
Mr. RoboCop.
yeah, Gregory Rodriguez is fucking Gregory Rodriguez. Oh, I mean, he did get choked out by Anthony Hernandez, but actually knocked out Gregory Rodriguez.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in favor of Ikram winning here.
Yeah, I think Inside the Distance is totally live here.
Yeah.
Next fight. Moving on, we got this was a tough one. This is one you and I kind of talked about earlier. Got Nasrat
Mhm.
Hapgrass versus Quillen Salkeld. I'm on the
Hold
south.
on, hold on, hold on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off,
You're good. You're
but
good.
I
You're
will I
good.
will say this. If this fight goes to decision and it is a close fight, sorry, Quinlan. I'm sorry.
Damn. Yeah,
Um,
probably.
they're going to favor Nasrat. I mean, they're going to favor him. Abu Dhabi, bro, bias
Let him
pacing.
cook. Let him cook.
I mean, bias judging.
Mhm.
We've seen that a lot. We've seen that a lot. So I think Quinlan, before we get into this, I think Quinlan just needs something huge in this fight.
Yeah, it's a tough ask. Nasser Hopgrass is not an easy out for by any means. Well, and Salkilled though, we saw him turn away what has kind of been a viral fighter in the wrong kind of way, Anshul Jubli. You know, it kind of what turned that meme of India has no fighters and whatever. It's kind of held true for the most part. But it was a crazy knockout. It was a one punch KO. And then before that, he beat or no, after that he beat Ashmus, who I thought was going to be kind of present different kind of problems for Quillen, because Ashmus does have a bit of bit of wrestling, but he also does have some pretty strong hands for striking. Uh, yeah, I mean he's an interesting guy. I mean, there's not a lot of tape on him. We saw him fight on the Contender Series, um, you know, a little over a year ago against Gage Young. Gage Young just went to war in China uh, against Mahashate, and that was a great fight. Um, yeah, Nazar Hopgrass, dude. I mean, he just beat Esteban Ribovics by split, and Esteban Ribovics
Yeah.
was a solid prospect, and he still is. That one loss. I expect Ribovics to bounce back and fucking tear through. A bit of this division. He's a young guy, if I remember right. He was super young. But yeah, in this one, like you're saying, it's a tough ask for Quillen to get this done inside the distance. Is it possible? Sure. Um, but he's coming in, with less than half the experience of Nasrat, and he's lost by submission. He's very balanced in his way of fighting. Nasrat though, look at his record. The dude is a KO artist. He's got the death touch in his hands, and he favors well on the scorecards. Never had a submission win. You know, I think this is just going to be one of those just great fucking striking matches we get here. Um,
hmm
and I don't know
You know,
what's that.
when I say Quinlan has to do like something big, it doesn't have to be like a finish. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to be something inside the
Just has to be
distance.
decisive,
Exactly. It just
right?
has to go to show you that Quinlan, he's clearly winning this, and just like, for example, when he was come the third round when he was fighting Ashmoose, he was fucking on top of Ashmoose.
He looked like the
He was on
fresh. He looked
top
he
of
looked
him.
like he looked like he wasn't tired at all. He looked like a fresh fighter. He's ready to go
Yeah,
five.
and especially in that, in the first round, Ashmoose, in that fight, Ashmoose was, you know, on top of the scorecards, with his grappling, his wrestling. But after that, Quinlan completely flipped it
Hmm.
and just dominated on the ground. But to be honest, I have Nasrat
Dude,
winning this fight.
look how split this is
I
on
know.
tap odds. That's a crazy split. Seeing it
I,
almost 50-50 is insane.
yeah, as of right now, I'm in favor of the journeyman. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still kind of 50-50 on this fight. But I will say this, I really hate the fact that this is a damn near pick 'em fight
Yeah.
at the start of the week, and we're it's Tuesday today. Yeah, still start of the week, so still pick 'em fight.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if these odds are gonna change. But as much as I love the prospect of Quinlan, he's facing a journeyman in Nasrat, and he's been in there with some high level fighters. Nasrat's been in the UFC since 2018. He's faced he's or and he's 10-4 in the UFC. Um, I mean, maybe Quinlan really implies his wrestling in this fight,
Hmm.
and he avoids some of the striking exchanges with Nasrat, and kind of nullifies that. Um, his wrestling, and like we were just talking about in his last outing, was very impressive.
Hmm.
Um, Nasrat's been submitted before.
Yeah.
He's been put out on the ground, and I don't know. like I said, I'm still 50-50 on this fight. Maybe the odds are right. Being a pick'em fight, and you just got a prospect who's very well rounded,
Mm,
but you got a solid journeyman in
yeah,
Nasrat, and he's still young, 30 years old.
and he
Quinlan,
just beat an undefeated guy.
exactly, just went the distance with someone like Rebet. Quinlan, 25. Who knows though? Who knows? We've
Yeah.
been seeing a lot of prospects come in here and just do what they need to do.
Mm,
But as well, a loss here for Quinlan. That wouldn't be too bad,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
But I'm still 50-50 on the fight. But
Yeah, we'll see how it looks when it hits the scales. We'll see him face to face, and then go from there. But right
100%.
right now, I'm just on the side of the prospect. I think he his wrestling is going to present a lot of problems here. Next fight, we got uh the light heavyweights. Alexander Rakic versus Osman Brzezinov, an undefeated guy versus Rakic on a 3-fight losing streak. I think he loses this, he's out. I mean, it's crazy to say because Rakic is still inside the rankings, but you just lost to, let's see, you lost to Jan Blachowicz, got your leg blown off almost 3.5 years ago. Lost to Yuri Prohaska, who fucking just chatted out on you. This was UFC 300, by the way.
Yeah.
Just went full Chad and just beat your fucking head in. And then you lost to Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, yeah, you could argue his losses. He lost to guys that have all held the belt at one point. Uh, he beat a Thiago Santos, old, washed. Beat Anthony Smith, old, retired. He on the other side, you got Osman Brzezinov, an absolute demon. Doesn't see the scorecards hardly ever. One time against Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby, we just saw, come off of like some crazy win over fucking Petrino, made Petrino go up to heavyweight. Uh, but Osman Brzezinov, dude, I mean, his build is really funny to me because like he looks like a chubby light heavyweight, but he's a killer. That dude's a demon. Uh, I mean, yeah, I mean he's the problem, and for this to be a pick'em is kind of crazy because Rakic, I feel like Rakic doesn't really present that many problems. Uh, that Mirzakhanov is not gonna be able to figure out. Mirzakhanov, the recipe to beating Rakic is you just gotta have good kicks, and you gotta have powerful hands, and Rakic will kind of just like fold under the pressure, of some heavy striking. And Mirzakhanov has both those things. And I expect him to get a KO in here. You know, he's been in 3 round wars. He's a high paced fighter. Um, yeah, I expect this to probably be over. Within 2.
you know, I feel like maybe it's a pick'em fight because, like you were saying, this is Rocket's last chance.
And
Maybe,
he's only lost to top dogs in his last 3.
yeah, yeah, but what his last win though, 4 years ago,
Yeah,
and he he it's hard to say. His last 3 wins or his last 3 fights, all losses. Fought Ankalaev almost a year ago, and now he's getting this guy who's just a murderer.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Tough ask.
it is a very tough ask, but you go and you look at that fight against Yuri. Rocket almost put Yuri out, but Yuri is just fucking Yuri, and
Yeah.
he'll just fucking chad you out and just take everything you dish at him, unless you're Alex Pereira and you just fucking put his lights out. Um, but like I was saying, I know Rocket is coming off of 3 losses here.
Mm,
Uh, 2 being finishes, though. One was due to that leg injury,
yeah.
but I mean he got Jan Blachowicz just fucking blew his shit off.
Yeah.
Um, and the third, is by decision against Ankalaev.
Yeah.
And like you were saying on the other hand, and on the other side you have Osmont. He's been putting motherfuckers out left and right.
Yeah.
He got a win off Dana White Contender Series and is riding a 5-fight win streak after that. 4 being by finish and 1 being by decision.
Yeah.
Um, both these guys like to find that punch that will put their opponent's lights out. But like I was saying, This could be Rocket's last chance. This could be his last fight on his contract. I mean, his last win was almost 5 years ago.
Yeah,
He's riding on a three loss streak,
yeah,
and only fought twice in 2024.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Dana White don't want those type of fighters. He doesn't want somebody who's just gonna hold up in the rankings. I mean,
yeah,
it's especially dudes who you don't have any real popularity. I mean, Rocket is a fun guy to watch. I mean, that fight against Yuri Prohaska during UFC 300, that was a really fun fight. But nobody really knows who this guy is.
mm,
I'm sure if you were to go to a casual MMA fan and just be like, "Oh, do you know who Alexander Rakic is? He's a ranked light
ah,
heavyweight." And you're like, "Nah, I don't know who he is." I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like you have a lot of fighters who like the Tafa brothers. Like the Tafa brothers. Why are the Tafa brothers still in the UFC? Because they have a fan base from down under.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Why is dudes like fuck, I can't think of somebody, but like you get what I'm saying though.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get what I'm saying.
100%.
So I feel like Rocket I feel like Rocket knows that this is his last chance. I mean, they're literally feeding him to a dude that is lower than him and is murdering people. This is literally lining him up as a sacrificial lamb for Hazmat, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
The way it looks.
yeah,
So I believe he needs a statement win, and I think Rocket needs to put Hazmat out.
yeah,
But who knows?
yeah. I think winning for Osmont, definitely gets him a top 10 shot. I think he would get, either Jan or Guskov, whoever loses that. Um,
100%.
but a finish, I don't know, who knows. He could even go fight Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's like number like 7 or 8. Uh, it,
That
it,
would be huge. That would be huge for him.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's fun fights to make for Osmont off of a win here. Rakic, not so much. Rakic wins, it kind of mugs up the division again for the top 15 because yeah, he's already lost to 3 of the top 10, top 5 right here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a win for Osmond does a lot more good than bad for sure. I expect him to lose down the road. I don't think this guy's going to win a title. But I do expect him to be a top 15 guy for years to come and be a problem. But yeah, moving on. Next fight, we get another heavyweight banger. We get Alexander Volkov versus Jalton Almeida. My pick in this one is Jalton Almeida. Uh,
Jelton Almeida is a freak.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is contender fight right here, 100%. Whoever wins this gets the title shot. It's pretty clear cut, especially in heavyweight. You don't really like think like, oh, but if he wins, there's one more fight for him. It's like no, heavyweight. Once you win, you go. Once you win, you're up.
For sure.
Uh, and yeah, the Jalton Almeida is kind of that new fighter we're seeing a lot, especially in the heavyweight division. These guys that can wrestle and grapple at a high level, instead of just being the big fat chubby dudes that will just fucking swing and try and knock your head into the ground. And that's the same kind of fighter as Tom Aspinall, and I expect him to go out there and just blitz Volkov, get him down, control him on the ground. Maybe find, maybe not find a submission right away. If he does, wouldn't surprise me. But I think that's definitely like the recipe here to being Volkov. Avoid as much as a stand up game as you can. We saw Srogan just fucking rob Volkov of that because he wanted to stand and bang with him. And Volkov should have won that fight. Volkov should be fighting Aspinall right now. But instead you're here and you kind of got the short end of the stick again. You're now getting a guy who is just like Tom Aspinall, just like the guy who has beaten you in the past. You know, I expect Almeida to, win inside the distance 100%. It would surprise me if this went to a decision, but I think if you want to ride a lot of momentum going into a title fight, this is your chance to do it and get a finish over Volkov. Yeah, no, I expect Jalton Almeida to get the win here for sure.
For some reason, I feel like this is gonna be a harder fight than we think.
Yeah.
I feel like Volkov is gonna put up a really tough fight against Almeida, and I see Almeida winning by decision here. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I think Almeida is a freak though, like I was saying.
Yeah.
He had that loss against Curtis Blades, but I honestly think he made some mistakes in that fight.
Yeah, he was kind of stuck on a
Um,
single leg and just got his head elbowed
y-
off.
yeah. And that led to his loss. He's fighting a 37-year-old Volkov, which is also a fucking freak too. I don't know if you've been seeing it, but Volkov's been hanging out with a lot of those like metal bands, and he's been hanging
Yeah,
out in
I saw
the
that.
crowd and shit. And like, they pan over the crowd, and like you just see this big ass 6'7" dude just in the middle of the crowd, just fucking
Yeah.
banging his head.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think Almeida is going to be the one landing the bigger shots, and even mixing up a little bit of his grappling. I think it will be hard for Almeida to get Volkov down.
Hmm.
Um, I honestly hope that Almeida is going to be a little bit more confident in his striking.
Uh,
Because honestly, if he could like kind of mix it up and be confident in his striking against like when he has Volkov up against the cage and not look for mainly grappling and like clinch work.
yeah.
I feel like he has a shot of getting the finish, but I think this will be a harder fight for Almeida, and I think it'll be Almeida on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about new blood as well. That's like my whole thing is like I don't like seeing rematches,
Mhm.
especially when rematches were so one-sided cuz Volkov, yeah, he fought Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall bitched him on the ground, got him with like a straight arm key lock submission on the ground. And then, he already fought Cyril Gahn. I mean, that'd be an okay rematch because that was a split controversial loss. If Cyril Gahn somehow beat Tom
Yeah.
Aspinall, I mean, even if Cyril Gahn loses again, it's like, do you just go back to the rematch right there? Because heavyweight doesn't have a lot of guys. Heavyweight is a pretty shitty division. It has a few solid guys, um, but overall, as the division, it's very, very thin. You see a lot of guys fighting again, or they're fighting like really like we're seeing a lot of debut fighters come in and fight. Like, we're seeing Luli Sutherland come in and fight Walter Walker. But a lot of those guys that are on the outside, they're just either young in their career or they're just like big fat blobs that somehow are still in the UFC. The elite of the elite are these top five guys. And usually like a lot of these guys are just recycled fights. Um, yeah, I think it would just be really fun to see a guy like Almeida come in, get a win, and then really give Tom Aspinall like his real true challenge. Other
Hmm.
than Cyril Gahn, I think Cyril Gahn's gonna give him a lot of problems. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Next fight: Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. Uh, this was kind of a crazy fight when I first heard about it and first saw it. Because Umar Nurmagomedov, he just fought Merab for the belt. He was 18-0. Merab pretty decisively beat him on the scorecards, kind of turned it up on him a bit, and out wrestled Umar, which was kind of a surprise in my eyes. I thought it was gonna be play out a lot more on the feet. I mean, it really didn't. I mean, Merab just totally just stuffed everything coming back, and you know, Mario Batista, he's coming off of a win over Jose Aldo, and he's coming off of a win over fraudulent. I don't care, fraudulent as fuck, patchy mix, not UFC level. That dude can go back to PFL or Bellator or whatever. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, no, Mario Batista is kind of like in my eyes just like Eamon Zahavi. Like he's like one of those guys who's like he seems like he's pretty easy to figure out. Like he doesn't look like he's gonna really present many challenges. He's kind of just point fighting, but I mean there's levels to this, and I think Umar is gonna really give him the levels. This is gonna build up to that Murad versus Umar round two. Um, I think Umar's. I mean this is gonna be I think it's a decision regardless. I think Umar is just gonna be the winner here on the scorecards. Though I think Umar gets a decision win. Very very strong kickboxing background on his side as well as Mario Batista.
Yeah.
But there's also the
Um,
wrestling.
I don't believe Mario Batista has what it takes to defeat Umar or even get a win here. I think the only area where Mario would get the edge in this fight is potentially his striking.
In the clinch work.
Um, and yeah, his clinch work. But I mean, you're talking about Umar here, bro.
Yeah.
You got Umar who is literally side by side with Khabib in Islam, and even their cousin, fucking I forget his name, but he's the
Usman.
yeah Usman. You got those four dudes, and Umar's right in the middle with them.
Yeah.
Um, Mario Bautista is not going to be able to grapple, get in the clinch, wrestle with Umar at all. I think Umar is just going to completely shut that shit down when it
Yeah.
comes to Bautista trying to do that. Um, and honestly, I think Umar could possibly get a submission win here. I mean,
It wouldn't be
he just got
surprising.
absolute. It wouldn't be surprising at all.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, he got bitched. He got bitched by Marab.
Yeah.
So maybe he comes out here and kind of shows what he could do on the ground, and tries to get an early finish. But I'm kind of leaning 50-50 on that.
Uh,
Maybe Umar sub or decision. I don't know. Uh, but Mario, like you were just talking about, Mario just fought a fraud of
hmm
Patchy and unfortunately a old Jose Aldo. And I think Umar will be able to break through his striking and implement his game in this
hmm
fight,
hmm
and I think it'll be by submission.
Next fight, we got the co-main. We got a UFC title. We got a vacant title. Zhang Weili vacated this title to go make a super fight with Valentina Shevchenko. So,
Super fight.
so we get Verna Jandrodova versus Mackenzie Dern 2. These girls fought back during was it COVID? Let's look at the record. I think it was back during COVID. I think I remember watching this fight. Yeah, 2020. This was during COVID. They fought. They're pretty sure it was the Apex, but Mackenzie Dern got the win there. These girls both have high level jujitsu, very elite jujitsu. Uh, as far as striking is concerned, though, I think the striking does kind of favor Verna. Mackenzie Dern has kind of rounded out more in her career. It kind of developed a better striking. Um, but I think this is just going to play out just like the first fight, dude. I think this is just going to be a lot of stalemate fighting. If it does go to the ground, I do kind of favor the side of Mackenzie Dern. If
Yeah.
this does go to the mat, I think she thinks she can write out a lot of top time. Will it go all 5 rounds? I mean, it's hard to say, man. Women's fights are so hard to predict when they're 5 round fights. You either get a smother fuck for 5 rounds, or you get a pretty decisive one side just ass kicking. And both these girls don't really have that edge when it comes to the striking for me to be like, yeah, there's gonna be like a KO loss here. I think it's just gonna
Mhm.
be one of those fights where we're gonna see a lot of wrestling. A lot of attempts to sweep and counter on the ground. But yeah, no, I expect Mackenzie Dern to get the win. I expect her to, go five hard, either get a 49-45 or a 48-47. Um, or however it plays out, 48-46, whatever it is. Uh, but yeah, no, I expect Mackenzie Dern and New in this one. You're on Vern, aren't you?
I got Verna Jandrodova winning this fight. Um, I honestly believe Jandrodova is prepared to get a win in this fight. And you look at both of these girls, their last five, um, and Verna has a better record in my opinion. She fought title contenders like Jan and Lemos. Dern is coming off that win against Rebos, but Rebos just got finished in her next fight.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love Mackenzie Dern, as much as I love Mackenzie Dern, I just believe that Verna is riding this win streak and is now getting her shot at UFC Gold at 37 years old. I believe that Verna believes that this is now or never.
Yeah.
Um, Dern is still young. Dern still has that cushion if she loses this fight, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, I think. Look. Look at Janderdoba's record. Look at Mackenzie's Dern record. Janderdoba is 5 for 5 in her last five. Dern is 3 for 2 in her last fight.
Mhm.
If I were Janderdoba, I would be pissed. I've been putting all this work in to get to this shot, and I'm getting a fighter who
Has beat
that's
you.
just that, that's just yeah, it
One of those
has
three
beat.
losses is Dern.
That is true. That is true. But I mean, look at the turnaround for Janderdoba.
Mhm.
I mean, she did lose to Rebos, and Mackenzie Dern beat Rebos.
MMA
Um,
math? Question mark.
that is MMA math. That would be MMA math. So technically, Kenzie Dern could find MMA math. Mackenzie Dern should finish her
Nah.
pretty much. But
I
I don't
mean, it's tough to say. It's like, yeah, you win the title here, but it's like you're not like a scary title, holder. Like
no
I think anyone
no
coming up in the strawweight division looks at it and they're like, okay, I just gotta not get taken down. I gotta avoid being stuck on the side of the cage, and I'm live. I'm
100%,
live for anything on the feet. Um,
100%.
and
Um,
if Rose or Macy Barber or Blanchfield, make a run in the top of this division, they all have every piece that could challenge these girls. But right now in this one, this is what we get for a title fight. Um,
yeah,
I mean,
I got
it feels crazy.
I got Verna.
All right, main event. Before we get into that, guys, make sure you guys leave a like, share it with someone if you haven't already. Subscribe. We appreciate you guys for sticking around. Uh, we're trying to get you guys some decent content now. We're working on some things. Uh, yeah. So thank you guys. Let's get into the main event here. UFC 321 main event. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn. We get the number one heavyweight, Tom Aspinall, the man that John Jones ducked, versus Cyril Gahn, the man that John Jones finished, the man that's 0-2 in title fights, lost to Francis Ngannou, lost to John Jones, and now this is his lucky third question mark. Uh, it's tough to say. Tom Aspinall has been a freak. His one loss was his knee getting blown out to Curtis Blades. You know, Cyril Gahn has I don't know. I don't think he has the answers to this equation here. I think Tom Aspinall is a very complete elite heavyweight. He's kind of like what I was just talking about with Jalton Almeida. He's kind of on the forefront of that new heavyweight where he's not a big fat blob. He is a shredded to the gills fucking freak, high level grappling, high level striking, and he has the UFC record for shortest cage time. The dude has fought like what 8 times in UFC. And he's only been in there for like 13 or 14 minutes total or some shit like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Seeing something like that. This dude's only been on his back for 1 second ever. He's obviously just very dominant. You're not gonna see this guy, you know, anywhere near the scorecard. Uh, But that is the question. If this fight does stretch out, what is Tom Aspinall gonna look like? I don't think gas tank is really a question, but it is a question of how does his game plan lay out if the fight does go long? Like, is he expecting
Yeah,
is he expecting to go in there and just absolutely starch Ciryl? Ciryl is he's no slouch. He's a high level striker for sure. He does have a bit of a grappling game, not nowhere near Tom Aspinall's, but he does have a very high level striking, very high level kickboxing. Uh, we saw him smoke Tai Tuivasa, but that's Tai Tuivasa, who is a fat, stinky heavyweight. Uh, we saw him win a split against Volkov, which he many can argue lost. Um, but yeah, I think this is now or never for Cyril Gahn. You're already 0-2 in title shots in the UFC. Um, But Tom Aspinall, he's primed and ready, dude. All he sat out over a year waiting for this John Jones shit, and that shit fell through because John Jones just ducked him, absolutely ducked him. Um, yeah, I think Tom Aspinall comes out here and gets it done. I think he might. I think Tom Aspinall by sub is
Mm,
definitely the move here.
yeah, 100%. I believe Tom Aspinall could get it done inside the distance.
Yeah,
Um, I think Aspinall's just a better fighter here. You know, like you were just talking about, he's been waiting for a long time, had to deal with that John Jones bullshit, and throughout that entire time, he was still training. I mean, he trains with a lot of those UK fighters. You know, Paddy, that one guy who just fought.
Ante Deliha.
Yeah, Ante Deliha, you know, he trains with
I'm gonna like cast that real
he's been
quick.
training. Yeah, you know, he's been training this whole time. And I honestly believe that he's been starving. I think he's been starving while he's been waiting. Um I think he does what he's been doing and he finishes Gon here. Gon hasn't been KO'd in his career, uh, but he also hasn't faced a dude like Tom Aspinall.
No, hell
Um,
no.
this guy is a huge dude, but man, can he move his weight around like he's a fucking
Fast,
middleweight.
fast, fast,
He is
fast.
extremely fast, and I mean, that's another thing as well I wanted to bring up. You know, like you were talking about Serial Gun, he's a striker as well. But Tom Aspinall just seems to find like these counters, these just perfect timings to land a nasty fucking shot on his opponents. And it's always just it just takes one. It just
Mhm.
takes one from Tom Aspinall
Yeah,
to get you rocked and he's all over you like fucking white on rice. I mean, look at the way he finished Sergey Pavlovich when he won the interim belt. You know, he rocked Pavlovich bad, and as soon as he recognized that, he was on top of it. Look at when he fought Curtis Blades recently, rocked Blades and was on top of it fast. Same with Tybura. Same with all of his finishes.
yeah,
Every single one of his finishes. That's the thing about Aspinall that I love is that when he could recognize it fast. When he sees that you're hurt, he does not hesitate at all. So I I think he could get gone hurt. And like I was just talking about, he is not gonna hesitate. He's not gonna wait for Gon to get his composure back or anything.
yeah.
Drops Gon on the ground, he's gonna follow him to the ground. Um yeah. Gone. He's kind of similar in the way of, you know, he's a big dude. He can move around. He's a very fast striker, but you know, like I was just saying, Aspinall has that crazy power in his hands, and he's fucking fast. And I believe he's faster than Gone.
Yeah.
Um, and you know,
We're just about to see two
Aspinall has
cars collide, bro. This is about to be an
one.
insane fight right here.
This is gonna be a huge fucking car crash, dude. Aspinall hasn't fought in over a year, but like I was saying, he's been nonstop training, waiting for a fight that won't come to light with John Jones. But I feel like this is gone. You know, like you were just saying, this could be Gon's last chance to come close to touching that belt. And I don't know where Gon's head is. You know, I
Hmm.
don't know where his head is at, in my opinion. I've heard a lot of rumors of him wanting to go and pursue other things besides fighting. You know, there was this one time where he apparently wanted to go and become an actor.
Hmm.
You know, he wanted to go be an actor for a movie. And like I was saying, he wanted to pursue other things outside of the UFC. And those are all just rumors, you know, those are all just speculations that I had come across, you know, um, on the internet. But he's 35.
Hmm.
You know, this could be his last shot at the title, and who
He's gonna
knows?
kill
I
him.
I think Aspinall is gonna absolutely starch him. And like I said, I think this is now or never for Gon. And unfortunately, he has to face Tom Aspinall for that. And he had to face
Prime
John
Tom
Jones.
Aspinall.
So yeah, and he's facing a prime at Tom Aspinall, who is hungry. He is pissed, and I mean, what 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 information can you get off of a dude who literally his total fight time is under 10 minutes. It's probably even less. Like it's probably like under 8 minutes or probably even 7 minutes in the octagon for Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, he's had short fights in the UFC, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, you're not gonna be able to get much of a read. It's basically just like if he runs at you, just be ready for him to fucking just come and maul you. And however you answer off of that blitz, tells us what we need to know. Maybe we get one of those things where it's like we saw Alex Pereira versus Izzy up on the cage, and Izzy's just eating the shots, and this Rogan just lands one fucking counter over the top. That would be
yeah,
insane to see something like that. I'm not saying that is going to happen, of course. I'm on the side of Tom Aspinall, just absolutely mauling on. But this kind of feels like one of those fights where you have the fighter backed up, and all it takes is one. Absolutely, these guys both have high level striking, and they both got strong hands. Um, but yeah, it's just Tom Aspinall, dude. I think he's very motivated and he wants to win.
yeah. You kind of just like peaked a little bit of a question in my head. We've never seen Aspinall in that, and with his back against, back in the corner,
Hmm.
and he
He's
he
always
has to
the
find those.
pressure.
Exactly. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? If Gon possibly procs Aspinall, who knows how Aspinall will react, what his next moves will be. But I got Aspinall winning this fight, and I think Aspinall is gonna do it in early. He's gonna do it in early rounds, and he's gonna do it in a very dramatic performance.
All right. That is it, guys, for our picks on this card, as well as our recap from the previous card. So we appreciate you guys for sticking around with us as we go over this card. Our Friday videos we're gonna start making shorter, make it more just straight to the point with you guys. Uh, we'll probably cut out the quick picks and just hop straight in the lines. Just go over the fights real quick on them. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for sticking around on our breakdowns. These do get longer. So yeah, if you just want to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with someone. When we were at the UC Vancouver card, we ran to a guy like Brucey. Shout out
Yeah,
Brucey.
shout out Brucey.
Guys that are into MMA, and they're very informational. That's what we're trying to be for you guys. We want to get out there and talk to you guys and tell you things. Especially if you got casual friends who don't know too much or have been out of it for a while and just don't know any talking points. These are your talking points. Watch this video and you learn a lot. You'll be able to talk to all your MMA buddies about shit, and maybe you'll surprise them. Maybe there's something they didn't know. That's
Yep.
that's what we do here. We want to feed you guys as much info as we can.
Yep, 100%. We appreciate you guys, and thank you. Thank you for watching, and stay cozy.
Stay cozy. See you on the next one. Peace.